Welcome to EZA Homeschool Academy. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr., the African-American civil rights leader, was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. His parents were Martin Luther King Sr. and Alberta Williams King. His siblings were Christine King Farris and Alfred Daniel Williams King. Martin Luther King Jr. is important because through his actions he played a pivotal role in helping to bring change to the African American community. He sought to unite people from all walks of life through peaceful methods. Martin Luther King Jr. lived at a time when segregation was the fabric of American culture. Segregation is the idea or action of setting people apart based on the color of their skin. Jim Crow laws, which were in effect at the time of Martin Luther King Jr.'s youth, stated that people were to be separated. People from African American descent or dark skin were treated like second-class citizens and less than humans. The laws made it so African American children and Caucasian children did not attend the same schools. Additionally, they did not use the same restaurants, water fountains, public toilets, and zones on public buses. The spaces that were designated for African Americans or Black people were usually unclean, run down, or not well cared for. This unfair treatment, understandably, angered them. Martin Luther King Jr. faced challenges as young as 6 years old when he learned that he could no longer play with his friend who had white skin. This was just one of many instances that helped to fuel Martin Luther King Jr.'s desire for change. King was a scholar and progressed through school quickly. He attended Morehouse College at 15 years old, where he studied sociology. He then went on to study divinity at Crozer Seminary, after which he completed his doctoral degree in theology at Boston University. Both his father and grandfather were ministers, and this inspired Dr. King to continue that line of work. In 1953, he married Coretta Scott, and they had 4 children: Yolanda, Martin, Dexter, and Bernice. Dr. King wanted to bring change to the way African American people were treated. One of the most memorable things he did was to help organize a boycott of the public transportation system in the city of Montgomery. As stated before, laws were in place that prevented African Americans from using some of the same facilities as their white counterparts. One day, while riding a bus home from work, Rosa Parks, another important African American civil rights leader, chose not to give up her seat to a white man who wanted to sit down. The law stated that should a white person need a seat on the bus, a Black person had to give up their seat to that person. A white man wanted Rosa Parks' seat and she refused to get up. Her refusal to get up prompted her arrest, which angered the African American community. They wanted equal rights and opportunity, not just for the usage of public transportation, but in all aspects of life. Dr. King and many others organized a peaceful boycott of the public transportation company. To boycott means to refuse the use of something. African Americans decided they were not going to use the public transportation system until the laws were changed, allowing them to sit wherever they wanted to sit on the buses. The boycott lasted over a year, costing the bus company a lot of money in lost revenue. During that time, there was increased tension between the African American and the Caucasian communities. There were bombings and beatings and more arrests, yet the African Americans forged on because they needed to see change. Their struggles were not in vain because in 1956, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that the segregation laws on buses were unjust and unconstitutional, and this decision ended the boycott. Dr. King went on to inspire many other people to stand up against the unfair and unjust treatment of the people in the African American community. He encouraged people to voice their upset through peaceful marches or protests. His influence grew quickly across the country, and this created many enemies for him. Many groups of people did not want to see equal treatment of Black people. They wanted the laws to remain the same. Dr. King was involved in the famous March on Washington in 1963, when 250,000 people attended a march to discuss the importance of civil rights legislation. Again, they needed to see change, not just on buses, but in all aspects of life. It was at this march Dr. King gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Once again, this grand act was successful, as in 1964, the Civil Rights Act was passed, which was a landmark civil rights and labor law which outlaws the discrimination of different groups of people. As stated before, Dr. King inspired many people during his life, and even though he has passed, he is still an inspiration to many. Dr. King was assassinated or killed on April 4, 1968. He was 39 years old. Today, we can continue his work by standing up to injustices in our communities. We can use our influence to bring light to the world, just as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did during his lifetime.
As always, thank you for watching. Tell us what you want to see next. Email ezahomeschoolacademy@yahoo.com. Like and share our videos. Please subscribe to our channel.